Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How's it
We're
going?
sitting back here again today, looking forward to primary focus on basic sort of operations, basic care.
Getting back to basics.
I think the big thing here is really establishing a routine and a pattern for your health that actually allows you to know basic steps in order to get through a day of being able to focus on health.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to truthfully a lot of times write this down. That's I think one of the simplest first steps that a lot of people, because it's simple to get kind of broken up as to what and how to take care of your particular pattern. So you write down that those steps that you're currently performing, and if you're working with a health coach, the idea is that they'll be reviewing that with you, taking a look at what symptoms your body's expressing, how your energy and sleep and digestion, everything is operating, and they will bring in better suggestions each time there's certain concerns or certain issues that you're trying to discover for battling your particular health. So, what are some of the basic operations that you're completing daily for yourself, Mike?
Yeah. Well, Joseph and I were kind of talking this morning, what are we doing? And I said, I kind of just kind of focusing on the basics, getting back to basics. So one of the big ones is just getting 8 hours of sleep or whatever that perfect number is for you. I'm just going with eight because that seems to be the general number that most people can benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's funny how like you give yourself a goal. Okay, I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep every night.
Right.
It's harder than it sounds because it's a new habit that we're establishing. But I like the idea of like making your health and wellness a top priority in your life. And that means like, no matter what, I'm getting 8 hours of sleep. If I have to be up at 5 or if I have to be at 6 or 7, I'm going to go to bed at 8, 9, or 10 and no later and make that a huge priority. And so it's funny. It's kind of like not compromising on your health and wellness. Like,
Right.
My health and my wellness takes top priority over, going out, doing things for other people, like, which is good. It's good to be in service, but at what cost? Because if you're killing yourself and hurting yourself, then you're not going to be there the next day, so to speak.
Right.
So sleep, getting plenty of rest, and listening to that body. It's amazing. My girlfriend and I, we just recently started working out too, which is another getting back to basics, doing some basic weight training, some fundamental strength training. Um, um, the idea was that we weren't even going to start working out regularly until we got the sleep down.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one is sleep. Um, the other one is just make that water goal that we talk about a lot. Drinking about a gallon of water a day.
Right.
And then just eating. Depending on what you're going for, but just hitting those numbers every day for getting my 3 square meals a day, so to speak. Maybe that's inappropriate for some people if they're doing some intermediate fasting,
Right.
or if they need 6 meals a day, whatever it is. I'm just sticking to it though and making it a habit,
Right.
and also listening to my body in that process. Um, just those couple of things have been huge: sleep, hydration, and consistently feeding my body. Have been huge, really, really profound. It's this idea of getting back to basics. I was talking to Joseph. It's so easy to get caught up in this diet, this fad, this product,
Right.
this health guru versus this health guru, or this system versus this system. But really, it's like, what are your fundamental basics that you're being consistent with to create new habits and new pathways in the brain to make those the new norm?
Right.
So it's, you know what I mean? There's always so many excuses that people are, oh, I don't, we can come up with again, going back to victim state, victim thinking, all these things that come up. Oh, I can't, there's all these products I'm supposed to take. Stop making excuses and just get like a really simple foundation for yourself first. And just look at what are the most basic, essential health qualifiers.
Right.
and those seem to be it. Sleep, hydration, nourishment, exercise. Simple. And not getting hung up on the different variables within those, but just start doing something. Like if you just start moving regularly every day, if you get on your rebounder or trampoline and you commit, all right, I'm doing 20 minutes every day. Don't get hung up on the routine. Just start moving. So those are really, and actually that's kind of good. I think when you're starting to exercise, is you're developing a new relationship with your body.
Right.
So it's not like the first week you go to the gym and you just kill it. You're actually training your muscles how to do a new movement that you haven't done before. So the first month or so is going to be you learning how to do particular exercises. So being patient, practical, and consistent every day.
Yeah.
What are these fundamental, foundational approaches to health and wellness? It's
Correct.
simple. It's a lot.
It is simple.
Another one would be too, like just practicing being kind. I feel like that's a really good,
attitude.
Yeah, and observing yourself again, going back to awareness.
Yeah, we talk a lot about 5 essentials.
Mm-hmm.
We talk a lot about even what I would call my 5 simple steps for natural living, to bring in that sort of confusion that can happen, to where people are always struggling with. Somebody else, you tell me what's the best thing for me to do. And a lot of times I think the underlying core of what you're talking about here with sleep and exercise and water and basic food, is you really have to spend the time necessary to listen to that internal voice. There's that wonderful guiding consciousness that we have, that is a very spiritual thing that we're sort of told to drown out. You don't know what you need, so therefore go ask a medical professional, counseling professional. And it's not that they don't have their place, but it's hard to have one of them standing next to you 24 hours a day, learning how to live your life according to their system.
Right.
And it does take, I would say, some effort, in order to make that almost an initiating or starting point. I think that's where a lot of times when people come in for health coaching, that's their first position to have, is to say, I'd like for someone else to assist me in this process. We're going to spend a dedicated hour every other week to actually talk about just my health.
Isn't that true for most things? We all kind of want a Superman to come save us,
Of course.
Whether it's our income or work,
whatever,
or our life, our popularity. It's just like, somebody come save me from myself.
Yes.
But it's quite the opposite.
It is quite the opposite.
It's save yourself.
And as soon as you learn to trust that, then the confidence that's developed, that's what lets you write these down on a routine basis. And that, I think, gives more personal capabilities, because you a lot of times know your own answers. It's just you've never stopped for the time that you need in order to pull them out of yourself. Instead, you get into a panic mode, which shuts off all critical thinking, and then your ability to actually jump into your own health platform. Again, everybody should technically design their own diet. That's because when you eat a piece of food, it actually will tell your system good digestion, bad digestion.
Right.
Do I have a headache? Did I get a hypoglycemic crash? If I eat 4 pounds of Oreos versus two bites of salad, what's the difference in how I operate?
Thank God the body has a easy way of informing us.
Exactly.
But it's like any relationship. It's developing. We have this amnesia about our intuition, our bodily intuition, that we kind of need to relearn how to listen. Just like any relationship, be it a friend or a spouse, is learning how to listen to that person so that they can express themselves, and you develop a new language. And that's the same with our body.
Correct.
I love the saying, nobody knows what the body knows. Right?
It's very true.
And the more you can tell start trusting and listening to your body. I like to do that with eating. really listening to my body. Am I really hungry right now? Because I definitely have habits of like comfort eating or eating for joy, which is fine.
Right.
But when it becomes too much in the body, when there's, you're overloading the body, a calorie load that's a burden on the body to digest, that can be harmful. So really listening to my body, am I really hungry? And I don't know how to explain that. It's just something you have to listen to. I find it's like, go with the facts. Okay, I've eaten all my macronutrients that I want today. I got all my micronutrients. I've already thought out my system for my 3 square meals a day.
Right.
So I'm good. I know that if it's 4 o'clock and I'm waiting till 5 o'clock to eat, I'm just gonna wait that hour. Probably because I'll be at the gym or something like that. But my point is if you know that if you've done a little bit of groundwork and know that I'm getting plenty of protein, carbs, and fat, and I'm getting all my micronutrients, you don't have to you don't have to worry about snacking. Sorry, I digress. But my point is, if you have a good foundation, you know that, okay, I can wait till my next meal and I'll be okay because I do have plenty of energy. I'm just going to drink a glass of water.
Right.
I'm going to go jump on the trampoline or the rebounder. That's one of my favorite things to do when I feel like I'm hungry, but I know that I'm not really hungry. It's just an emotional desire.
Yeah.
Go do something completely different, like exercise or drink a glass of water, go out in the sun and get grounded.
Yeah, it's a boredom eating sort of structure, and that happens so routinely because again we just get tired of doing, say, our one job function for 8 hours a day, or if we've just hit that lull in our energy. The idea is we think, I need to eat to get more energy, but it's actually you need to boost metabolism. It's sort of the opposite of eating, because the more you put into the stomach, the more you have to focus on digestion versus metabolism.
And am I right in that we're getting a lot of our energy from food the day before?
Correct.
So it's not like I can eat right now and I'm going to get that boost, because actually you're putting your body under, you're using your energy to digest food. Like when I was younger, I used to study voice and singing, and I remember voice teachers saying, don't eat right before a performance, because your blood and your energy is going to be used to break down that food, as opposed to performing and lung energy and diaphragm and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So it's that's an interesting relationship that we have to break.
Yes, yeah. How do we know the difference between our intuition and, for example, emotional food cravings? How do we start to, and this is part of developing that relationship. How do we know?
Yeah.
I have a few ideas, but I'm curious what yours are too.
The two pieces that I have found is that for most people, the ability to go one single day without eating and actually fasting for a 24-hour block of time gives your body the ability to reset that timer, that sort of program material. If it is I'm hungry at 8, 12, and 5, there's a routine pattern that's been set up inside a person. That's not an intuition. That's a program.
Right.
If it's one of those to where you are driving in the car and you just see the marketing billboard of a really nice fast food restaurant, and you go and you find yourself pulling up to the drive-thru, understand there's a pre-programmed nature behind that. The difference that I find with intuition a lot of times is you'll be in a moment and you'll be thinking a concept of what sounds really good right now is a kale sandwich with a little bit of egg salad and mayo or something like that in your head. And all of a sudden you go, well, that's odd. Why did I pull that out of nowhere? I wasn't really doing anything that was food focused. And it's like, so, let me think about kale. Well, what's that? That's a few different vitamins. It's also, better digestion. Okay, great. Egg salad, that could be something that actually you just are routine with. But it's going to tell your body, hey, a little bit of extra protein in my day. It can be any food, but it's unique when specifics are given to you from a place of technically what most people call nothing. That's more of that intuitional guiding voice. Your body's going to tell you, because it knows the wide array of food that's available to you, what exactly it's looking for. And there might be some crossovers. So that's one of those to where a lot of people will get the craving for a slice of cheese pizza. What's really happening is your body's saying, hey, a little extra oil in here, please, because that's that main component of that food type, versus the idea of, wow, I really want a steak. Okay, well, is steak the best protein for you right now in your diet, or should you be switching your proteins around? But it's the idea of, oh, it's there's something saying protein.
Right.
And again, I think that's where not only writing things down and having a plan that you're executing, but also writing down your daily responses and starting to say, well, wait a minute, every day at 1:45, I think, some sort of food product. That's odd in its own nature because that shows that it's not an intuition thing. There's a program there of some operation, but you really want to start to track. That's, I think, one of the best ways to figure out the differences.
Yeah, I think
Because
food journaling is awesome.
and it's sneaky because there's some things, like I say, I know a lot of people who go and they just automatically turn into a food place because that's just the way, or they're stressed and that's the place that makes them feel happy,
Right.
or whatever it is. And seeing those connections obviously will help break apart any misconceptions. And it is the time that you put into it. I think it's interesting because we can talk about like emotional relationship triggers and responses. Someone will say certain verbiage, or you'll get into a certain style of situation, to where that same pattern happens for you. So you've got to separate yourself just far enough to where you can say, hey, Mike, this is your stomach talking to you. I'm saying it's time to eat a large salad. And you go, but I just had food an hour and a half ago. I haven't even fully digested what I just ate. Why are you saying this to me? What's going on here? And again, it can be that first indication of, well, what's in that salad? Break it down. Where are the specifics coming
Right.
from?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a cool way of thinking about it.
And all of a sudden you get to this conversation level with yourself of saying, hey, you're almost trying to convince yourself that what you're about to do is a good idea. And then you're giving yourself that check and balance to say, hey, wait a minute, this actually isn't going to work out well because I've started to relearn that eating every 2 hours doesn't work. That doesn't help my body. So eating every 4 hours is the new system I'm working on. Well, every 2 hours, your body's going to try to convince you to go back to eating, even though that's not what you want. The idea is you've set a goal in front of yourself, and you're trying to develop that next big sort of key. I would say for a lot of people, break your goals up into maybe 1 week sets, 2 week sets, and 4 week sets.
Yeah.
And that
Totally.
way you can say, hey, listen, at first, like you're talking about exercise, I just want to be able to go to the gym 3 times this week. And if you put that on that Monday, sort of Sunday night or whatever planning goal schedule, then you go, okay, check mark, check mark, check mark. 3 times this week, amazing. Well,
Right. Which is a good idea. Like start gradually,
can I
but
keep
be
that up?
consistent.
Yeah, but be consistent. So the next week, okay, now you've got 2 weeks down of being 3 times a week. Then maybe after doing that for a month of being very consistent 3 times a week, now you can change the exercise style.
Right.
Because now you can be a little more flexible. But the idea is you don't jump in and go, I'm going to be right back to my, military style, routine system day one, because your body
Not
will
realistic.
will actually reject that change because it's not in its best interest.
It's not an organic natural
Correct.
process. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just showing up to the gym and running for 30, 40 minutes and just being there
Mhm.
3 times a week
Mhm.
to get your body used to the idea that every, whatever time you pick, that's when you're going to go and that's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
That's that way of gingerly, saying, hey, listen, this is a good idea. Please accept this.
If you're doing more than you were before, that's good.
Correct.
If you're if even running is too intimidating or exhausting,
Yeah.
you can do elliptical, which is, and then and play your favorite music. Find ways to make it fun and easy.
Yes.
But start small, be practical, but be consistent. Yeah, absolutely.
And in that whole concept, never lose focus on the big picture. Set that big
Right,
goal.
the goal.
Set the big goal, but then immediately once you set the big goal, if your concept is lose 30 pounds, You've got to.
That's a long-term goal.
That's a long-term goal. The idea is I've got to lose a couple pounds a week over the next 10, 15 weeks. And the idea is that all of a sudden now you can start taking a look at what you can really change for yourself is a pound or so of weight loss per week. And then you start breaking it into, I'm going to go to the gym 3 times. I'm going to drink, 80 ounces of water. I'm going to eat 2 times a day with this particular, this type of food. And I'm going to take all those micronutrients because I know that's going to help the end goal of what's going to happen 4 months down the road. So that's the beautiful way of piecing this apart and helping the process be not something you subject yourself to. We don't want a body that's beaten or suppressed into a new platform. What we really want to have is somebody who actually says, I get to wake up today. I get to go to the gym. I get to enjoy my good food.
Yes.
I get to have all, and that's that gratitude.
It's an opportunity. It's a gift.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I love that. So, and don't you love it when you're like, yeah, and then you blink, your brain.
Should have been in my class last night.
What was your class on?
Last night was all about brain health.
Brain health.
Optimum function in operations.
Eat your Bacopa and your choline.
Yes.
And your ginkgo. I probably need some ginkgo. I need a little bit more sleep, to be honest. I didn't get my 8 hours, and look at I'm a little puffy. A little poof puffy. No, but what we're talking about is a foundation, getting back to basics.
Yes.
We've kind of gone a little, we're talking about developing a relationship with your body, which is a great foundation.
Most, yeah.
You were talking about, the goal of setting 30 pounds. The goal is really important to keep you focused on the big picture. If we worry about everyday things, that's a myopic view. It's a narrow viewpoint when you have this huge horizon to consider. And it's beautiful. The sun's rising. It's a golden day in the valley of your life, right? So keep that huge goal, the perspective that is, in mind. And why do we want to lose 30 pounds of weight? Right. To be a better person, to be a better example, to be a shining light in this crazy world. So keep that in mind, is that you're here to add, not to take away, but you're here to add. So make that goal even more valuable and important. Now you're raising the stakes. If I don't lose, and what is 30 pounds? Let's say whatever your optimum weight is for happiness, health, wealth, longevity, for the better, pure, more authentic human experience. That's what we're all really after at our heart of hearts, is what's authentic. So when your goal is, I want to have the optimum weight for wellness and to have a good life. Well, because what other, there's vanity's great. Vanity's awesome, right? It feels nice to look good, obviously. You shake your head. But you know what I mean. You guys, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But it feels nice to look good, to look at, to look at yourself and be like, yeah, I'm a body of health. I'm a good example. But the reason we want to be at our optimum weight and functionality is to make the world a better place. And that can raise the stakes of your goal and inspire you every day. I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better mother. I'm going to be a better son or daughter. Whatever it is, I'm going to be a better boss. I'm going to be a better employee. I'm going to be a better peacemaker on this planet. When you're well, you can be a better influence on this planet. And that's actually how we get in synchronicity or in symbiosis with the planet, is by being healthy too. I mean, that's what the planet is, this naturally thriving health orb in this particular period of time that we have while the planet is thriving. And so the only reason that there's pollution and bad stuff on the planet is because you have sick people on the planet. You can either have a parasitic relationship with the earth or a symbiotic relationship with the earth. And the same thing's true with your body. You're this consciousness that gets to make these choices. So if your body is healthy and thriving, then then you will experience microbes and things like that are for longevity, health, and wellness. If your terrain or your body is not healthy, then the microbes are going to try to recycle you. And that's the truth. Those candida, cancer, all these different things that are, shutting down the systems, it's because you have a terrain that needs to be recycled. It's not functional on this healthy planet.
Yeah.
So go back to basics. write down your goals
Right.
and what are like the 5 or 6 things that are really simple you're going to do every day to establish a healthy relationship with your body, your intuition, and to make it simple. There's so many different products and systems out there.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming and it can complicate things. But if you can go back to basics, keep it simple, stupid, right? That whole
Yeah.
KISS
Yeah.
system. So, water, sleep, eating good foods. That's a whole, I mean, what is good food? That's a whole nother video that we could go over. But again, keep it simple. Organic foods.
Mhm.
Make sure you're getting your protein, all your macros, your micros, and the
Yeah.
perfect balance for you. You can talk to a health professional or a nutritional professional about what your macros and your micros target should be. It's not the perfect system, but it's a great way to get started. It
Correct.
keeps it simple.
Right.
If I'm just hitting my targets, if I'm exercising for X amount, so many times a week, just write those things down and then write down your goal and put it somewhere where you see it every day, first thing in the morning. Make that your mantra, your affirmation.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to the perfect weight. I'm going to, get functional strength, whatever those things are.
Yeah.
Write it down so you can see it every day.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's so easy to get caught up, and that's where it's great to bring somebody in to assist during
Yeah.
those initial stages, which is why the 6 month coaching platform is so essential in the
Mm-hmm.
in the process for an individual, because we really want someone to not just make a change for a short duration and then go back to their old patterns and
Right.
behaviors. We really want to see that they are in their new mode of understanding for themselves, living that operation before we say, okay, 6 month program's over. It's now your full control and operation. Send me an email if you have any questions. But the idea is you've already been doing these operations, this basic packaging, for yourself for a couple of months now.
Right.
So you've been able to have schedule get complicated or birthday come up or travel to a new location and understand how to adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
Um,
Can you talk about this just briefly? What the 6 month? Because for people who don't know,
correct.
what are you talking about?
So
So when they contact you, when they email you or call you or whatever, what is this
Right.
program?
So, as health coaches, we offer the ability for a person to come in and sit down and give us their breakdown of their health history, their details. Let us know what their struggles are, where they'd like to see improvements in their life. And we start developing a relationship and a pattern of having every 2 weeks be a check in day of going through and developing their personalized health platform, so they can really learn to live in an opportunity for themselves, following simple instructions that have great balance to their everyday cycling, their routines, their patterns. Because again, our routines become our norm, and until we can actually start to change our routines, our body is very reluctant to change its operation. So when you have
Yeah.
an issue, you've got to be able to push into a better new level of operating for yourself. So this 6 month coaching program allows for us to have a couple months of sort of really examining what you're currently doing and really seeing how those, what steps you're going through, doing the food journaling, doing the exercise track, actually figuring out how much water you're drinking, where your emotion level is in terms of positive focus, and then a couple months of really starting to modify everything and really break it apart and say, well, wait a minute, we've been eating, standard 3 eggs, 2 strips of bacon, 2 slices of toast, breakfast every morning for 10 years. Maybe we need to switch that up to
Cut out the
something a
toast.
little different. Yeah,
Add some butter.
let's see what we can get back into
Just
that
saying.
body. To see all of a sudden feel a difference and to see something go, hey, wait a minute, I've switched over to doing more of a protein shake breakfast, and I actually feel so much better for the entire rest of the day. Oh wow, that's such an easy thing, but you didn't catch on that that was what your body was telling you because you've been set. in a pattern. So those modifications start to become your new sort of normal. And then those last 2 months were really just assisting that process of little modifications, but you've developed a personalized program, a personalized package. And that's where I think it's so critical for so many people, is that it's very hard to read a book and eat and follow exactly that book 100% and find that the results are exactly the same as what the book says.
Yeah. Not realistic.
Not realistic.
Yeah.
It's actually usually a combination of multiple influences, and actually that your own character direction, that intuitional voice to actually say, do this, eat that, go here, change things up. I still find that some people, will tell me, very routinely that they just, again, never stopped to take the moment to sit down and think about these sort of processes.
Yeah.
They just have never.
I'm the same way. I mean, before I was ever interested in health and wellness, I never even considered, it sounds so stupid, but I never even considered why we eat.
Yeah.
I mean, I was an adult, must have been 25, 26 before I ever stopped and thought, wait a second, because I remember thinking, like, how do I, with my health issues, I was like, quick, how do I get healthy? All of a sudden I had this new interest in, like, how to not get sick, because I didn't want it to happen again, because I almost died or lost my leg. So I'm like, how do I get healthy? And it just occurred to me, like, how do I not know how this thing works?
Right.
How was I not trained? How did I ever not think about, wait, why am I having a glass of milk right now? Whatever it was, it never occurred to me. So I would just imagine most people out there who aren't thinking about their bodies or health and wellness because they're too busy living their lives, which is totally understandable. But health and wellness should be a fundamental understanding that everybody has and owns. It's understanding intuition. There's no quick fix. There's no Superman's going to save you. No. It's going to be, it's a process. And there's no quick fix or answer. That's why we do the 6-month progress or program, so that you can get a realistic view of what it is to implement change in your life and to build that foundation. Yeah. So I would love if we do maybe a video next week. If I show up on time, we can do an hour-long video about food cravings. Yeah. Because I love this area of nobody knows what the body knows. It's developing intuition and trusting and having strength, and then building momentum from that, and then eventually you own it. And you're just like oozing out this confidence that you got, you're taking care of yourself, and you become a different person. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's when you get your minerals and your amino acids and all these other things, all these other nutrient profiles in your body filled, you activate your genetic genius. Your genetic potential starts to unfold in a good way. And then the magic really starts happening. I get to the same point every week. It's like, let's get this party started, but first it's going to take you and me activating our genetic genius. So I would love, because this whole intuition thing it's simple, but it can be complicated. There's so many food addiction issues. There's a leptin issue. We can talk about maybe resetting leptin next week, and food cravings and sugar addiction, and how to reset the metabolism, and how to set up your meals so you're not hungry. Right. I think that would be a fun topic for us to talk about. And I think most people have sugar addictions, obesity, blood sugar issues, that once they adjust those, then the hormones go back, your metabolism comes back, these kinds of things. I think it'd be really fun to talk about. And I also recently have been researching, another thing I'm trying to do is, cut out the caffeine or coffee. Because for me, I feel like it's actually causing a metabolism and hormone imbalance. I found it hard to lose weight when I'm drinking coffee regularly, which is interesting. And I did some research, so my intuition started telling me, why don't you cut out the coffee? But then there's the struggle of the coffee addiction or crutch, right? Of the go-to the coffee. So there's a voice telling me to drink coffee, and there's a voice telling me, hey, maybe this is causing the issue. Right. But I have to go through drinking the coffee and having that experience and that download of what that's like versus what it's like to not have it. So what's my point? I don't know, but it's that there's a lot of different variables when it comes to understanding food cravings and stuff like that. And I know I'm talking about keeping it simple, But maybe we could do one episode just about food cravings
Yep.
and resetting leptins and sugar addiction and things like this, because it's really amazing. And then when you just start getting those right foods in, like doing that smoothie in the morning, dude, it resets the cravings and everything pretty quick. It's exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. So that's one of those things where today we have run out of time, but we're going to keep this up and be able to bring in more information, better details, better instructions as you send in questions, comments. Let us know what you're personally dealing with that can actually help others learn more effectively on their health journey. We're here as much as we can be in order to always support, and we'd love to get any of your responses. So feel free to leave us a comment below, or at any point in time subscribe, and that way we can actually talk more routinely. And then check you next time, find what's keeping on. Like I say, keep it simple, start writing things down, figure out what your patterns are, and we can go from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to hear your comments, guys. You can reach us at the number 2 crazyhealthcoaches@gmail.com or brilliancenutrition@gmail.com. Either one, you'll reach us, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. And I think next week, hopefully, if the subject feels right, we'll do food cravings and food addictions and how to reset your metabolism so that you're not craving food all the time.
All right.
Get in my belly! That wasn't even a good impression. No. I can't do it. Good. Scottish. Get in my belly. There, that was a little bit better.
All right, keep it
See you guys. Next week I'm going to have the perfect Austin Powers. I'm not even going to say the character's name because I'll get in trouble.
Yes.
But he's a fat something.
Yes, you will get in trouble.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Be unique, beautiful.